Next, we head for the river. Big salties. Jamie Beitzel has lived in the Daintree all his life. Fishing and the jungle shores of the river are his passion. What better person to show me around?
Like, you would have been out with your dad a lot.
Yeah.
What was it like back then?
It was full on. There was a lot of fish. You get a dozen, 15 boats, recreational and line fishermen doing it for a living. 10 years ago, it wouldn't matter what you towed around behind your boat. One of Mum's spoons, put a hook on it, tow it around on a bit of wire, you'd catch one.
So they were that thick?
They were that thick.
So over the last 10 years, what techniques have come into this area that weren't here before?
Well, the offshore gill netting, which was a problem down the southern waters, I've been told, with the spotted mackerel, and they've banned that, but we have 3, maybe 4 boats that have turned up the last 3 or 4 years, and they're taking a lot of fish.
And so what does that mean to you?
I don't get as many. A lot of the smaller line fishermen, people just can't catch one.
Jamie and I ventured onto a sandy spit that borders the river and the ocean. We looked across at Snapper Island, which was once a vibrant spawning ground for the grey mackerel. With fish stocks critical worldwide, the local people are fighting hard to protect this marine environment. Healthy fish stocks means people like Jamie can take tourist fishing, helping to contribute to the local economy.
Fuck off away from the boat, you useless cunt! I fucking told you 20 times I want 50 metres clear. Now fuck off! There, this road cunt, mate, I'll run you down. Fucking faggot! Just come over and have a chat with you if I can.
So, Cole, how's the season been so far this year?
Well, Dave, as we sort of predicted and everybody has said after what happened last year, you weren't going to have a very good mackerel season this year. It's been dead right. May, nothing. June, nothing. July, a couple of stragglers. Myself, I didn't catch any. The mate that I fish with, Mark Harris, he got, I think, about 4 one day. Nothing in it.
But where are you actually spending time looking for the mackerel?
Oh yeah, I spent the whole May and June. Yeah, every time it broke, the weather broke, I'd say at least a week to 2 weeks in May. I was out here lots in the afternoon, mornings when the land breeze was holding the southeast back. July, when I really thought I had to get out here at times, I was pushing out here in 15, 20 knots. Still nothing here. July I did a good 2 weeks. I thought, well, in August they'll come. They've got to come in August.
And in previous years, if you'd put that effort in, what would you have got?
You get a pay. You get a pay. You might go back after 2, 3, 4 days with 50, 60 fish. A couple of Spanish with that. That's 50, 60 greys and a few Spanish. You've got to pay. Come August, you really start to clean up. You'll start getting your 30s, 40s. You might even get 30 or 40 in the morning and 10 or 20 in an afternoon. During August, it's not uncommon to get 70 to 80 mackerel. Yesterday, which was the 23rd or something of August, we caught, I got 11 or 12 in the morning and 4 in the afternoon. Now that is what usually happens in June and July. That's what you can say. In August, now we should be tripling that. We're getting a lousy half a dozen. This doesn't weigh up to the figures from the past.
And what?
People myself, having a boat that I can sleep on, I've actually saw them a lot in the years, in the last 3 to 4 years. So they've increased their, how could you say it, they've increased their fishing
Just
effort.
the frequency,
Here. And for that reason, the fish started to drop in numbers for 2 or 3 years, and then last year they came blatantly during the day and just ran their nets out right through the middle of us, and like they took around about 5 to 6 tonne in 3 days. There was 2 big boats.
How do you mean it ran the net right to the middle of you?
Well, we were actually trawling there, half a dozen of us, and he saw us trawling, and just ran his net out right through us where we were trawling, right up to the yellow zone.
Wow.
And blatantly during the day. In 3 days, 2 boats were here, and that was the end of our school. And this is the next following year, and there's nothing here. It's happened down the coast. Everybody told us you won't have a mackerel season for the greys this year because they wiped out the school last year. We've had 2 months of nothing. The boats have both been back here, the Victory and the Archer, and they've been working here for the last 2 months, just taking the stragglers that come through and build up the school.
Yep.
And you've got to have them to build up the school. If you've got no stragglers to build up the school, you don't get a school at all. And that's what's happened. A lot of them go overseas. They reckon the greys don't get exported. Well, I know for a fact they do because they've exported mine plenty of times.
Right.
And there's a big difference in price between netted mackerel and line-caught grey mackerel.
Can you explain that one for the listener?
Well, the netted mackerel don't get brain spiked, their throats cut, they drown in the water, 4 or 5 hours they sit in a net for, they then come on board, they get chucked into a big pile, they get so many at once, they get squashed, there's fish that get hot, they try and ice them all down, they get so many at once. They get like 150 in one shot or more.
They're spawning when?
Right now.
Right now, yeah.
Right now. They're in big schools out there and they won't bite.
Well, at the last meeting we had, the DPN Fisheries said that they don't spawn until between October and January.
There's no fish here then.
Yeah.
They come here to spawn, that's a fact.
Yeah.
And feed, that's why they congregate.
And do you find them when you cut them open, what do you find?
Yeah, they're all full of roe.
Yeah.
They're all full of roe and it's starting to get quite hard now, so it's it's the time for them to start dropping it.
Yeah. What do you think of the management side of things, allowing netting of spawning schools?
It's ridiculous. They don't allow it with barra. They don't allow you to do it with the coral reef fin fish now.
45 years.
So you're catching grey mackerel in the 60s?
Yeah, I come up here diving mainly, but we still went out and caught a feed of grey mackerel on the troll line.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And what changes have you seen in the grey mackerel?
Well, just the numbers, This year particularly, I've caught 5 grey mackerel for 3 months' time. Admittedly, there's been weather in between.
But that's always the case, I mean, in the previous years,
But, and some of the park, other residents of the park haven't caught any, and they've spent the same times as I have trolling. And whether I don't know what it is, but...
So you caught 5 grey mackerel this year. How would that compare with, say, 5 to 10 years ago?
Oh, no comparison at all. You used to just go out and catch them when some of the people in the park wanted to feed, and your friends would go out and catch half a dozen greys, if the weather permitted, of course.
Yeah.
No trouble at all. It usually spanned from June till early September.
So whenever you went out in good weather, say 10 years ago, what were the chances of catching a grey mackerel?
Oh, 90%.
90%. And this year, the chances have been what?
Well, I've only caught them in 2 days in 3 months.
So then you're talking less than 10%. Yes.
Yeah, and I've been at least 20 times.
Wow.
And I've spent a fair bit of fuel and time because I enjoy me trolling.
Yes.
Just like me barra trolling when we go to the Northern Territory.
Yes.
But I don't know whether it's circumstances or what it is, or droughts or...
But the important thing is, we're not the experts, so we don't have to make guesses to what it's causing. But if there's been a change, we've got to bring that change to the notice of the authorities.
Yeah. Well, I think we all know what the change is.
And what's that?
Well, it's only in the last 3 years they've started netting, and back in the late 60s and 70s I was privy to the netting that was taken on in Bowen, and in 4 years it devastated the whole fish stocks down there. We used to just go on and do a bit of dive and chase a few lobsters out at the lighthouse.
So you fished down in Bowen as well?
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
All right, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and we dived mainly in them days.
Yes.
But the people there, everybody said, if you want to catch a grey mackerel, go to Bowen. But in the early 70s, that just they didn't happen. And then we came up here more just direct. We used to call them away. I used to call them Mackay on the way and chase a few crays down there too. But in more recent years, the last 30 years, we've just come straight through up here because it just, well, it'd be 95% at least. And if you wanted to catch 20, which we didn't, we only catch them for food. Yeah. But the pros could catch their 30 fish morning and afternoon, no trouble. So I've seen them there, you know, and talked them on the beach. But it's only in the last, well, really 5 years, I'd say. The last 3 years have been devastating, and people that have been coming to the park, for some of them 15 years, not as long as I have, they're not coming anymore. They're looking for other areas, you know, and they don't want a lot of fish, but they like to go and catch a fish.
Exactly, yeah. So just to recap then, over say the last 30 years, up until 5 years ago, you reckon there's something like a 95% chance of making a good catch of greys when you went out. Tell us again how many times you've fished this year and what you've caught.
Well, in the early days it'd be 95%. Between June and September, if it was calm, you'd catch a grey, and if it wasn't a grey, you'd catch a Spanish, you know. But mainly greys were the main thing. But in the last few years, it's really getting harder and harder. And the last year and this year is really hard work. And this year I've been at least 20 times in the 3 months, and I've caught 5 greys, 3 on one occasion, 2 on another occasion.
Wow.
And I've burnt a fair bit. If you ever look at my GPS, there'd be, you know, a couple hundred kilometres of trolling or more.
So as a message to our fisheries minister, you've got anything to say?
Hopefully think of all the people out there that want to catch a fish, all the future generations of people that want to catch a fish, and don't let it happen here like it has happened already down the coast. Have a look, ask people that aren't net fishermen, that are retired net fishermen, they'll tell you the truth. Get the truth, not what certain people want you to hear.
Not what the miners are telling us, huh? Those that are mining the fish stocks.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, Carl, well we better push on. The weather's picking up, so we've got that sandbar to get across, but thanks for that. Off. 100 metres, 200 metres. This is, I'll just show you guys, I'm just going to swing around to the boat. This is the gill netter. This is incredible. This is the gill netter here pulling his nets, and we'll just spin back to where that whale is surfacing. Now this is right on the fishing grounds. We're approximately 200 metres from the place that the net is usually set, has been set recently. I'll just pan round to where the fishing grounds are for the netting grounds. That's how close we are to the end of snapper. The line fisher, who of course wouldn't harm a whale. There we go. We're about 150 metres and I'm using the telephoto. Where the whale is now is approximately 400 metres from where the commercial gill netter had its gill net this time yesterday morning. Right on the commercial netting ground. Carl, we last spoke in about August 2007, wasn't it? You gave us a rundown how you're doing. How did the 2008 grey mackerel season go?
Well, Dave, not the best. Actually worse than 2007.
for the whole 3 months. The peak of the grey mackerel season out here.